Okay, peace, Hotep. Konnichiwa, muy bien. Um, this is in response to the Tichina Arnold's question about the emasculation of black men. One of the ways that you can stop the emasculation of black men, if you really want to be honest, like at the BET Awards when they got on the stage and was tongue kissing, you can stop it by, keeping your sexuality, to yourself. Now, one thing we have to look back at in as far as our past and the civil rights movement, which has been hijacked. Okay, one thing we have to look back at people. There were many people back then from the civil rights movement who were gay. They were homosexual too. There were some that were homosexual too, but they prioritized things. If you want to stop the emasculation of black men, first prioritize things. And you do that by ensuring that your sexuality does not over or supersede your essence of humanity. Okay. When you look at some of those men that were of the gay community back then, they did not put their sexuality before their race and their ethnicity. They put everything else on the back burner and they stood together in alignment to fight for the betterment of society. So you got to know when to hold it and you got to know when to fold it. And look at how progressive they were. They put what was most important, at the top of their agenda. And what was most important at the top of their agenda, despite what their sexuality was ensuring that there was a fight for civil rights. Their human rights were at the top of their agenda. Now, you know that this is an answer to the question if you want to be honest. Okay. That's one way that you stop. And then, we're looking at this, the educational institutions and how much influence and how instrumental these institutions have been in pushing this type of agenda on to the next generation. You're talking about the emasculation of men. I'm more focused on, the next generation. Okay. I have to agree with the Frederick Douglass, that, saying, you know, it's kind of hard to, to try to, raise and to deal with a man. But, when it comes down to a child, it's more, it's easier to teach a child. So, I mean, it's getting to the point where this baby and I need to be pampered syndrome is going too far. It's getting to the point where it ain't even no focus on the children. Everybody's focused on we got to do this for this man, we got to do this for this woman. We talking about full grown people here. What about the children? And they're paying attention to the fact that everything else is put place and put before them. And then you wonder why you having a negative outcome and you're having a negative impact on your youth because you're not focused on them. You're focused on trying to pamper grown people. Mental illness is a major issue in the community. Another way to stop the emasculation of black men or stop the emasculation of men is to go get mental health. Okay, that's another, nobody wants to admit that there are some issues mentally here. That, look at what watching Rodney King did to to the people in LA. Watching that happen, watching a man be brutalized had a negative impact on them mentally. Nobody wants to admit that. Okay. And if you're going to call the police on a woman, then expect the woman to call the police back on you. See, there's a lot of things that we're not talking about that go on amongst us. Don't make it seem like, oh, somebody's trying to emasculate you. If you call the police on a female, then when she calls the police on you, You can't get upset. So, if you want to stop the emasculation of stop calling the police on women and then turning around and get mad when the women call the police on you. Another way, keep your hands in your pocket. Another thing you can do is there are some ways you can deal with certain things. We just watched Will Smith go up there and slap the taste out of Rock's mouth. How do you think that made Chris Rock feel? Was that not a form of emasculation? See, we don't want to get to the root of the problem. We want to just touch the surface. One way you stop the emasculation of men of color is they need to focus on what is most important. Your first, the what's most important is your human right, your right as a human, not your sexuality. You putting the cow before the horse. And that's not what the ancestors did. That's not how they made progress. They put everything on the back burner and they came together, hand, gay, straight, whatever. We don't care if you wear your hair in a bun. We don't care if you got toenail on your toes polished. We don't care if your toes ain't polished. Today we are walking together in solidarity for the one reason, and that's the fight for our human rights despite their sexuality, despite what they had going on in their personal lives. They put their personal lives and all that extra stuff on the back burner and came together and moved in solidarity. We don't have on the first one, you don't have an agenda. You want things done, but you don't really have an agenda. So you're being laughed at. You got people crying on national television. Come on. Is it that? I mean, really? So let's just be honest here about how we deal with and address some of the issues. One way that we can stop the emasculation of black men is black men stop emasculating each other. Stop talking to each other like trash. Stop pulling out guns and telling another brother you're gonna kill him over something that was said on on social media because you can't handle your emotions. You really need mental help, but you don't really want to go because that's being a sucker. You going to get help to help yourself and help your family and empower your family and liberate yourself internally and externally. Going to get help that you a sucker. You're going to get help. So that's one of the ways that you stop the emasculation of black men. They got to stop emasculating themselves first. Don't expect other people to stop emasculating you and you doing it to each other. Know how to deal with each other. Better communication skills. Stop talking to each other with disrespect. And then expect for other people. If somebody here you disrespecting each other and you just y'all two talking to each other like dogs and disrespect going back and forth, then the person that's walk up, the third party person that walk up, they gonna jump in. Eventually, they ain't gonna have no respect either. Stop disrespecting each other. You want everybody to respect you and everybody to treat you with the utmost respect, and look at how you treat each other. And I'm not saying that how you treat each other is going to have an impact on anybody, but it will have an impact on you. It'll better relationship of you and your people. You'll become more solidified. If you want to stop the emasculation, getting on social media sites and calling each other, PUSSYs and BITCHs and not talking to women. It used to be just directed towards the women. Now they talking to each other like that, calling each other F, you know what? So if you want to stop some of the emasculation, you gotta be simple. You're not listening. You're not listening to those vibrations of consciousness. Your third eye, your pineal gland is calcified. You're not embracing it. You can't embrace the light because your pineal gland is calcified. Michael Jackson told you you're not listening to your ancestors. Ancestors speak. He told you if you want change, start with the man in the mirror. Stop expecting Frico, Coolio over here to respect you, and you and your brother, and you and your brother don't even respect each other. Show some respect for each other. It wasn't always like this. See, that's how they got progress. That's how they made progress. It wasn't you. I mean, come on. When we talk about James Baldwin and we talking about Medgar Evers and Malcolm X and all of these great, Ralph Abernathy and all these men who have made great contributions, uh, Toussaint, uh, all of these men, when we talk about them, they were not talking to each other in disrespectful. Oh, F nigga, I'm gonna, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this to you, I'm gonna do that. They're not saying this. They didn't say stuff like that to each other. They talked to each other with respect. They were able to obtain an education. In the moment that they got an education, they spoke to each other. Those who were able to, they began to speak profound grammar, back and forth to each other. Great communication. That's one thing that they had that we do not have. They had great communication skills amongst themselves. The women were respectful. They taught each other with respect. They didn't, bitch. Oh, I'm finna pull up. I'm finna, me and this dude screwing tonight. And it wasn't any of that. Some of the stuff I never heard it. It's until I left the phone. I'm being honest with you. I didn't some of this stuff I didn't until I left the phone. They didn't wasn't getting down like that amongst each other. See, so when we talk about getting down for our crown, that don't mean how low can you go. That just mean, what are you willing to do to make a contribution to the evolution or the evolutionary process progress of your people. It wasn't I'm get down for your crown, don't mean I'm gonna get down dirty and go over here and stab my cousin in the throat. Because I didn't like something he said or stab some. Come on. You want others to respect you, you gotta respect yourself. Michael Jackson told you. I told you you listening to some of these people, and all they doing is conning you. Same people for the last 50 years. And you still begging for some of the same things you was begging for 50 years ago. And you ain't woke. Ain't no, I don't want to hear nothing about no woke because ain't no woke. People is sleeping around here. It looked like a bunch of zombies and mummies. Okay? All right. And we got to resurrect. We talking about the resurrection. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't woke. You're still and you're hoping the same people make some change, and it change ain't came in 30, 40 years. But you still giving them your money though. I think I can. You still investing, and you barely getting what you ask for. So I mean, the problem ain't the problem is you. It really is. You dealing with the same people taking advantage of you. Yeah, I got this answer, I got this, and ain't come on, still in the same predicament. People telling you to defund the police. Come on, some of the stuff. Come on, and we ain't got a. Where's the plan? Where is your itinerary? Where is what's at the top of your agenda? Come on. By now, you should have a plan laid out of what your community. We need more programs for our young men who coming from fatherless homes. Instead of making videos and talking bad about single moms and talking and degrading your own women and think that other people are supposed to sit around and respect you as a man while you get on video after video and degrade your own women. People looking at you and calling you retarded and think you stupid. Instead of getting on YouTube and on these platforms, degrading your own women and degrading single mothers, why don't you create programs for the fatherless homes? Because degrading them ain't getting you nowhere. You've been doing that for the last 10 years, talking about how this degrade it ain't getting you nowhere. Why don't you come up with a solution? Instead of degrading your women, talk about plans to help make it better for the next generation. Programs, be mentors for some of the youth. Instead of sitting on the on your platform, on this social media platform all day trying to tell sisters what's wrong with them, how bad they are a person, why you can't stand them, what's wrong with them, why the brother don't want you. Always telling them something that make them feel bad about themselves. Instead of doing that, why don't you create a solution to some of the problems? I dare you. Because you waiting on somebody else to fix your problems. That's why you've been waiting for the last 60, 70 years. You're not realizing you the solution. Okay? Ain't no, they ain't coming over here asking you to help them fix problems in their communities. With the single parenting, they got single parents in other communities too, but you don't see the other communities coming to you and asking you for a solution. They figuring it out amongst themselves. They're working together amongst themselves. Why can't you do the same thing? You don't see them getting on there on the platform, getting on there talking, oh, bitch, calling and degrading they women. Nah, they not doing that. It's you. So you want respect, you gotta give it. Okay? You gotta create a better environment. Instead of putting your women down, you're supposed to be elevating and empowering them. Instead of keeping them and talking about their disenfranchisement, you're supposed to be trying to help the young men. You know it ain't no fathers in them homes. You know it's not fathers in some of these homes. So instead of sitting around here telling the mother how awful she is as a person for the decision that she made, the decision has been made. Go in and create a solution. Help and be a father figure. Be a mentor. Or is that asking for too much? Because when you start comparing yourself to people like these people, these men in the back, Mega Evers, you don't even begin. Because Mega Evers left from with his family to go check on Mammy and her situation. Okay? And the woman wasn't carrying on about Merle going down there and see about that business. So it's a totally different atmosphere. They didn't look at the young men in their communities and look down on them. They help their brothers and they help them up. Tried to show them the way, especially the one who didn't have a father. Come on in here and get you some cornbread and get you a biscuit and whatnot and sit down and let me talk to you. But see, that's on their phone. Okay. So and you want to help your people, you got to know how to deal with them. And as I stated, if you want to stop the emasculation of black men or men of color, then they need to stop the emasculation amongst themselves, calling each other out of their f in, and then the next thing and stop the going to school and the bullying. We talking about grown men, but we keep overlooking the kids. Everybody talking about full grown men, and the kids are the ones who going in school, and they the ones who have to worry about whether when they go to class today, if somebody gonna come in their class with a gun. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe if we could focus more on the children and the better environment for them, I think that that's something that both the woman and the man both can agree on. If we can focus on a better future for them, maybe we can get somewhere. Because I mean, we ain't gonna live forever. And as I stated, some of the political officials in congressional office, we cried about how old they are and how long they've been in office. Okay, where are their replacements now? Where are the ones that we're gonna send out the next generation to go into congressional office? Are you ready? Where's your itinerary? Where's your agenda? What's at the top of your agenda? Give me the first three things on your agenda. That's what I want to know. And telling talking about ain't no organizations out here. It's plenty of organizations out here. It's been plenty of organizations out here throughout the years. It's plenty of them. But you ain't got what you need yet. You don't get it. Everybody is capitalizing off of you. Because you know why? You ain't woke. You still sleeping. Hotep.